drop into predictability. Milkman, the paperboy, and evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face of somebody who needs you. But you're lost out there and you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look.
Episode 36 of Everywhere You Look, the unofficial, unofficial Full House podcast. My name's Thomas Green. You can find me on Twitter at NotThatTomGreen.
And I'm Alex Green, and you can find me on Twitter at TheAlexBGreen.
This week, DJ ruins a sweater that's way too expensive, and my voice is going out. Episode 14 of Season 2, Little Shop of Sweaters. But before we get into the episode, Alex, I'm going to let you handle the shopkeeping up front because my voice is being weird.
Well, as always, you can check out our lovely theme song by Beat Radio. They're pretty awesome. We like them as a band. And you can check them out at beatradio.bandcamp.com to check out some of their other music. You can find us at tinyurl.com/fullhousepodcast. That's where we are on iTunes. Rate us 5 stars, leave a review. If you do, Tom will put you on the cuss list. And for some reason, people really like when my husband cusses them out. It's a little strange to me, but whatever floats your boat. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/everywhereyoulookpodcast, on Tumblr, where we first release our episodes every week, at everywhereyoulookpodcast.tumblr.com, and on Twitter at FullHousePod, because they wouldn't let us use podcast. It's too long.
Yes, I know a lot of things about being too long. My voice is good now, I think, so this thing's already fallen apart. We're not even a minute into the show this week. Let's jump to the Day in History to get you all prepared as to what was going on in the world in real time when this show premiered on ABC in the TGIF lineup, February 10th, 1989. Alex, you keep warning me you have something.
Well, I think you should do yours first.
Okay. First off, this episode has some stiff competition as Miami Vice aired its 100th episode on NBC. I've never watched Miami Vice. I know that there are blazers that are shoved up to elbow length.
Lots of pastel t-shirts. Yes, or tank tops, I guess.
I think they did episodes about cocaine. About coke use.
Well, probably. It's Miami.
Well, I didn't think it was oh man, this is a drug show, but I guess they did episodes about cocaine and stuff.
Drugs!
And also, Dan Kelly, the NHL announcer who coined the phrase, "he shoots, he scores," passed away. Apparently he missed the net. That was mean. I don't know anything about sports, so that's where I went.
Okay, well, the thing that I found, I laughed because if you know anything about Tom and his previous podcasting experience, Tom is really into wrestling, and sometimes I tease him about that. I'm not into wrestling at all, although recently I find myself getting really upset about certain things and having opinions, and that frightens me. Please don't confuse that with me liking it, because I don't.
They're not in our apartment. They wouldn't know.
But on this day in history, the WWF, which, at the time was the World Wrestling Federation, correct?
Yes, the World Wildlife Federation of Wrestling, yes.
It's the World Wildlife Fund.
You're the World Wildlife Fund.
But
by
anyway,
fun, I mean not fun.
They admitted in a court that wrestling was not a sport.
Yeah.
And I just made a rhyme without meaning to. I'm Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, no, the story behind it is they were being taxed as a sport in New Jersey, so they couldn't run shows there.
Yes, they were we're not a sport, we're an exhibition.
And it was actually a big deal. Some of the other regional promoters were oh no, that guy's lying to get out of taxes, which he wasn't lying, but he did say it to get out of taxes. And it was a big deal, even though it's kind of been outed as not a real sport for 100 years.
Yes, but there are still people who believe it's not.
There are 50 people in Indiana and Kentucky, and that's it.
However, despite the fact that pro wrestling is not a sport, don't think that the wrestlers aren't athletes, because there's a lot of athleticism that goes into it.
Yeah, that's a PSA for for my hobbies that I don't bring up on here. That's a fun thing that happened on this day in history. But with that, let's hop into this week's episode.
Okay, so for the cold open, Michelle and Jesse are sitting at the table wearing matching backwards red baseball caps because that's a thing.
Keep rolling. What?
My grandpa, by the way, hates when people wear their hats backwards. Like, he will, like, get onto you. He will turn your hat around. And so, like, my brother and my cousins will, like, do it on purpose to make him mad sometimes because it's funny.
Doesn't he not like saggy pants either?
No, he does not.
Yeah,
but to be fair, does anyone?
I don't know. I mean, no, generally people don't like saggy things. Like, have you ever met anyone that's like, oh man, that thing over there is saggy. I like that. I approve of that. Nothing. Saggy bread, saggy genitals.
How do you have saggy bread?
Like if you like pour water on it.
Soggy and saggy are not the same
but
thing.
It's also saggy because it's sagging downward. It's sagging. No, people don't like soggy, saggy things. They don't. Like, tweet us at Full House Pod if there's one saggy thing that anyone approves of. Because I don't think there is.
Oh, I don't know. Old guys who haven't had sex in a while might be okay with saggy boobs.
I don't know if they would be, though. I think they'd still want, like, a not-so-saggy pair of boobies. I think they'd be like, you know... I am excited, yes, but I am also a little disappointed that your breasts have not unrealistically held up through the years, Gladys. And then they'd still have sex because he's horny.
So, like, is there, like, just no hope for old women?
I don't know. Like, the brassiere industry, the technology's improving, I assume. I don't know. I am not signed up to the Brassiere weekly newsletters.
That's a thing?
I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. Underwire Undercurrent. That's a monthly magazine. I think. Probably. I don't know.
Well, anyway, while Jesse and Michelle are rocking these Fred Durst looks, they're eating large bowls of fruit cocktail. And Michelle, being a toddler, is eating it with her fingers. And I understand this because the little boy I nanny for, he's 3. He's pretty bad about not using his silverware. And so I'm trying to work on that with him. But, you know, he's 3. You know, like, he's still learning. It's okay. Michelle's not even that old yet. And Jesse's all like, Michelle, if you ever go to the White House and meet the president.
And eat the president.
You know, he's going to be really grossed out if you're eating your fruit cocktail with your hands instead of a spoon. And our cat is right up on the microphone.
Hi, Luna. Say hi, Luna.
Saying hello.
This is why we normally lock her in the bedroom for an hour.
She was taking a nap, though, so we left her alone.
And now she's not taking a nap, and now she is hunting the microphone. This is really funny for us and not interesting at all to any of you. But no, and also one thing I wanted to ask about is, like, they both had, like, strands of hair hanging out of the front of the cap. Was that a thing?
I don't know. I was a baby.
You're more up on the fashions of the times than I am.
I didn't realize it was a thing, but Jesse does it a lot, so maybe they thought it'd be funny to do it to Michelle too.
No, well, that's kind of how they do with babies in Hollywood. Oh, it's funny if John Stamos does it. Why don't you have this baby do it?
He's like, grab your spoon and eat. And so she holds on to the spoon with one hand and eats the fruit cocktail with the other hand. And he's all like, I see you, I'm gonna tickle you, weird voice, ah!
I'm still very into the idea of Michelle going and eating the president. Like, oh, Olsen, you be fat someday. Why is
the president a stereotypical Asian?
No, I was thinking more like the writers were like a bunch of sumo wrestlers sitting around a table. Oh, Danny, he's so funny. Ha, ha, ha.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. Oh, sushi. I sound like my sister who used to prank call the house as Connie Chung now. Oh, Tommy, hi, it's Connie Chung. And then she gets all racist and stuff.
Connie Chung doesn't actually sound like that, FYI, to you and your sister.
But that's how Karen would call the house. She'd be like, oh, Tommy, it's me, Connie Chung. I need TP for my buttholio.
It's not bungholio. You're mixing up bunghole and the great cornholio.
I know, she would say buttholio.
Well, she was wrong.
I know she was wrong. I'm just saying that's how she would say it. I'm being accurate to that, not to Beavis and Butthead. That's not what I was referencing. Bunghole.
Bunghole.
Okay. Tongue out. Thank you. Hurry up, Steph. Michelle's drying up.
What do I do about Wendell Berman's Valentine? I can't find love Stephanie to someone who has his finger in his nose all day.
Well, why don't you just put from Stephanie to Wendell and just throw in a little piece of Kleenex?
Good thinking.
My funny Valentine. Happy Valentine's Day, girls!
Valentine's Day.
Joe, you like these earrings?
Oh, Jess, they are beautiful. I'll get my ears pierced tomorrow.
They're not for you, huh? They're for Becky. It's our very first Valentine's. It's all part of my Valentine's dream night. Check these out, girls.
Ooh. Uncle Jesse, are you in love?
Well, Becky and I, well, let me see, how do I say this? But the two of, if you see both of us together.
He's babbling. It's love.
So Stephanie is putting together all the Valentines for kids in her class, but she's a little confused about what she should put for the kid who picks his nose all the time, because she doesn't want to be like, love Stephanie when the kid picks his nose, because she doesn't want him to get the wrong idea.
What a bitch. Did anyone ever get a Valentine in school and it's like, oh man, that girl loves me. We're gonna get married. No, nobody did. Did they? I don't know. I don't think they did.
I once tried to leave one for a guy I had a crush on who wasn't in my class anymore. But
Did he like kill somebody? Was he
no,
like
no. It's just,
alternative?
we had been in the same class for several years in elementary school, but by the time we were like in 4th grade, we were split up, I think. And it was like in 5th grade, he was in the class across the hall from mine, but I had social studies in that room. So I tried to like leave him a Valentine, and I had Teletubbies Valentines that year. Don't ask me why, but I was like super into Teletubbies in late elementary school. Like my dad got me like a little Poe keychain for Christmas, and I like wrote a Teletubbies play on my typewriter, and we all acted it out at my grandma and grandpa's. And my little sister was into Lala, and one of the boys in our neighborhood threw her Lala into a cornfield.
Do you still have a copy of your Teletubbies play?
No.
That's bullshit. Because
Sorry.
that would have been like a great special episode where we get a bunch of people together to do an audio play reading of your
It's been
Teletubbies
15
script.
years.
Yeah, so I have things from when I was 3. Big deal, Alex.
Well, I have things from when I was little too, but not like Teletubby plays.
Whatever, you're a big old jerk. I have a trivia crack notification, and I'm not going to play it because this is more important.
Jesse comes in and he's all like, "Oh my gosh, it's Valentine's Day! Isn't this fantastic? Look at these earrings I got for Becky Donaldson, everybody!"
Oh, and Joey's wearing a Snoopy sweater, which sweaters are very important this week, so I need to point out all the sweaters.
Joey's always wearing a sweater.
It's like he's the reason for the season. He is Valentine's Day's Santa Claus. It's not Cupid, it's Joey Gladstone.
And his sweater.
Yes.
Jesse's very excited because it's his first Valentine's Day with Becky Donaldson, to which I'm like, duh, you've been dating for less than 2 months. The fact that you, like, tried to force yourself into, like, her life for several months does not mean that, you know, your relationship has been that long. Like, they got together after Christmas, and it's not even 2 months after Christmas. Like, duh, it's your first Valentine's Day together. Nobody thinks that it's not.
Well, he won't admit that it's love. He's like, well, girls, when men and women are standing together, he won't admit it's love because, you know, he's, again,
Because he's Megara from Hercules.
Either he's a nervous virgin or he just wants to fuck everybody. So
He won't say he's in love.
you know, he doesn't tell one, but I think it's appropriate to play the song. Kevin, hit it.
Now it's time for Uncle Jesse's Fucktails. Woo!
There we go, just for old time's sake. Speaking of, you could still repeal Tom's Law. We explained what it was last week. Not having guests on more than once per season. Kevin wants to be back on more often. It's hashtag repeal Tom's Law.
I would be okay with that. I'm in the repeal Tom's Law camp.
Yeah, use hashtag repeal Tom's Law on Twitter. There's a graphic now that he made. He is literally living behind bars until you guys repeal this law. So get to it.
Everywhere you look, there's injustice.
Yes. So Danny's like, hey, girls, I got your Valentine's presents. And girls are like, yay, presents.
Like, I don't understand why he'd, like, say this before Valentine's Day. Like, why don't you just surprise them with them?
No, isn't it Valentine's Day? Like, that day? Like that...
No, they make it sound like Valentine's Day is the next day.
No, I thought that was, like, the morning of Valentine's Day.
I don't know.
They did not make it clear whatsoever. Because I thought Stephanie was taking those Valentines to school because it was Valentine's Day.
Well, I thought she was just getting them ready, but DJ was like, can we open them now? Which is what made me think that it wasn't Valentine's
Well, maybe he
Day.
meant, like, he was going to, like, make them open them at the date tonight that they were having.
But still, why would you, like, even show them to them if you didn't want them to open them now in the first place?
He probably did. He was just, like, teasing. Like, ah, ha, ha, girls, I got you expensive things.
Oh, DJ's like, oh, I know you got me that royal blue sweater I've been begging for since Boxing Day, y'all.
Yeah, like, that's a weird thing, is they reference Boxing Day,
Well, no, she said the day after Christmas.
Well,
I was just, you know.
Well, they kind of reference Boxing Day. But also that she's very specific. She wants a royal blue sweater. To which I'm thinking, can't you just go to Walmart and get one for, like, $10?
Well, it was from a specific store.
So? Little brat.
Maybe they didn't have, like...
Walmart? They did have Walmart.
No, they had Walmart. I know that, but, like... When I was little, I mean, like, the clothes at Walmart are still not necessarily, like, fashionable, but they've come a long way. Like, when I was a kid, we had to get all our clothes at Walmart or Kmart after we moved to Connersville, because there was, like, nowhere else to get your clothes. And, like, I always preferred the clothes at Kmart because the ones at Walmart, like, looked ridiculous in comparison.
Well, I mean, they still do. I mean, everything's got the Duck Dynasty guys on it. And, like, hey, here's swimming trunks with the Duck Dynasty guy on the butt. Here's a knitting cap with the Duck Dynasty guy.
That's what I'm going to get you for your birthday.
A duck?
A Duck Dynasty cap.
So, like, do they call them Duck Dynasty because, like, they hunt ducks?
No, they made a duck whistle thing, I think. Like a duck call. And it's, like, a really effective duck call.
And then what do they do with the duck call? Do they shoot
They
the ducks?
sell it. No, you use it to call the ducks, and the ducks come, and then you shoot the ducks.
So they don't hunt?
No, they do hunt, I'm sure, but they manufacture the duck call, and it's, like, really successful, and they made a bunch of money doing it.
So, what's the show about then?
About them being themselves. And
See, I thought it was about their job, like the
it's
Pawn
all like,
Stars.
oh, we're family, and Jesus, and ducks.
Well, I mean, Jesus did create ducks, so...
Jesus did not create ducks.
I don't know. In the Bible, doesn't it say that Jesus created ducks?
God created ducks. And while Jesus is technically supposed to be, like, a part of God, like, they're not... Okay, Jesus is, like, a part of God, but Jesus came later.
So is
like,
Jesus, like, God's armpit? Is he like... I'm Jesus.
So Jesus is both the son of God as well as, like, part of God, if that makes sense.
Like, isn't it weird how this is how we segue into religious talk on the show? Hey, Alex, what's Duck Dynasty? It's got something to do with Jesus. Oh, let's be blasphemous. Woo, Mardi Gras.
Danny lets them open up their gifts, and Stephanie has gotten a gold locket, and she's very confused about, you know, the stock pictures inside. DJ opens up her gift, and she finds royal blue socks, and she gets really annoyed about that.
'Cause she's a little twat.
And
let me
Danny's
tell ya.
like, they'll go great with your royal blue sweater. Like,
And-
all Oprah style.
Yeah, and then he gives everyone in the audience a car, which is just, they just giving a car to a cassette that they just play on.
Michelle thinks that her gift is the bow on her present, and she's very happy with it. But they're like, no, there's more, keep going, and... Spoiler alert, Michelle is the worst present opener of all time.
Yeah, she also got a sweater. Everyone gets sweaters except for Stephanie, who apparently can't be trusted to have a sweater.
Well, Stephanie puts DJ's sweater on, and she's like, look, this could be my dress. And DJ's like, take it off.
Yeah, literally, she's like, I'm going to belt you. I'm going to punch you right now.
Then DJ calls Stephanie a chicken wing, and Stephanie calls DJ a double-decker lamoid chicken sandwich.
I ordered that from Wendy's the other day. I don't know if you remember. The poop was like this big.
Well, the guys get frustrated that Michelle still hasn't opened up her gift, so they open it for her. And it's a white sweatshirt that has, like, pastel doily hearts on it, and she just runs off with the box. Now, I know I've talked about putting up pictures from my own childhood on here before, and I keep forgetting to do it.
'Cause you suck.
I know. But if I can remember to, like, start doing that properly, I have a t-shirt that looks a lot like Michelle's sweatshirt, I mean, mine was black with neon heart doilies instead of white with pastel doilies, but that was the t-shirt I wore for my 5th birthday party.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun that you had shirts for your birthday parties.
Well, no, it was just the one I was wearing. Like, my mom I insisted that my mother take a picture of me with every single thing I got, including a toothbrush. Like, and so there are lots of pictures of me in that shirt. Like, I'm just so excited to, like, have this toothbrush. I'm, like, cheesing it out and holding it up, and I'm like, you know, like, I was a very, dramatic
Gay.
child who really liked having attention.
Whereas there's like 3 pictures of me from my childhood, like ever. There's a 4th that I think my mom destroyed, of me and my nephew sitting around a barrel at a photo thing at like Kmart. My nephew Mark and I, who are like I think a year and a half apart, they took us to get pictures together, and there's one of like me bent over a barrel and him sitting beside it like, ha ha ha, I'm laughing at this silliness that they had up forever, and then I think they destroyed it.
Why did they destroy it?
I don't know. Because they didn't have room for it. But yeah, I'm bent over a barrel at age like 3. That's appropriate.
You know what? I think you were right about it being Valentine's Day that day.
Yeah.
Because in the next scene, Stephanie's going through the Valentine's she got at school.
Yeah, I'm right.
So it was either actually Valentine's Day or it was the day they celebrated at school. So.
Yeah, kind of like they celebrated Columbus Day like 6 weeks late at the school I transferred to in 2nd grade. Then I referenced weeks ago. Go back and listen to it in the archives on iTunes, suckers.
What we get from the Stephanie Valentine scene is that every boy in school who doesn't always have his finger in his nose is named Jason.
Also, that only boys send Valentines to girls. Like, was that a thing?
Not in my school. In my school, you had to bring a Valentine for everyone in the class.
Yeah, I thought that was the thing. Not, you can pick and choose who
well,
you give
maybe
Valentines.
she had already gone through all the girls and just got to all the boys named Jason.
Or she's all like, hey, all these boys named Jason want to cuddle up with my juice box.
Ew.
Ba, 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 ba.
That's disturbing. Don't say that.
How is that disturbing? It's a juice box with a straw. You go, and you get juice out of it. What are you thinking of, you pervert?
You're the pervert.
I'm not a pervert.
You knew where that was going to go.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, DJ comes in, and she's obviously distressed, and we find out that she took her sweater off when she was playing soccer so it wouldn't get sweaty, and like a gardener or whatever ran over it with a lawnmower, and it's now in 3 pieces.
Apparently, what we found out is at their elementary school, which was frightening last year, now they just have people lawn mowing over your possession.
And we've seen pictures of the playground area at the school. It's not very large. Like, is there like a soccer field we haven't been shown?
Maybe it was around back. Maybe they have a whole fieldy area out back. Like the elementary school I went to had 2 playgrounds. One for the smaller kids and one for the bigger kids.
We all had one playground.
One playground, one love.
And an old schoolhouse cabin out in the back.
Wait, what? A cabin?
Yes, like there was a little cabin schoolhouse like in the back that had been like the original school or whatever, and they kept it, and we would go out there for Pioneer Week, and it was so much fun.
Well, I thought you meant you just got to like play in it unsupervised.
No, it was too far from the playground for that. Like it was like a little trek across a field, but it was really fun. We'd play Annie over, and like if there weren't enough slates for everybody, some people had to do their ciphers in the dirt, like on the floor with a stick.
You're speaking Chinese. What the fuck is an Annie over?
Annie over is this game where like one person goes and throws a ball over the roof, and everybody else tries to run around and catch it.
You're playing dog. No, you're playing dog.
It was a thing they used to play back in the old times.
When they didn't have dogs, and then they got dogs, so the dogs are playing Annie over.
No, it's something that they did to like keep themselves entertained, I guess. Like
they had fire.
One person would throw it, and then everybody else would run around.
Throw it.
Shut up.
See, that's the thing I love/hate the most about you. Is if I can get you talking about like a certain period of time, like before maybe like age 13 or 14, you get all into this accent here. Hey y'all, we're gonna play Annie over.
Shut up.
Hey y'all, I got a picture of me with the sweater in my 5th grade party. My cotillion, if you will.
I never went to Quintillion, okay? I was not high class enough for that.
I went to the bonfire with a boy named Billy, and he gave me a sweater.
I never went to a bonfire with a boy either.
I'm sure you didn't. You went with your papa and your mama. Is that a thing? A mama?
I had a mama and a paps.
A Pabst, like a Pabst Blue Ribbon?
That's my stepmom's parents. That's what we called
Here's
them.
my grandpa, here's my grandma, and here's my beer.
No, not Pabst. Just Paps.
Pabst.
P-A-P-S. Paps.
Pabst? Like a Pabst smear? That's gross. They named
I did not pick it, okay?
They named the vagina thing after Southern men. Hey, here's my Pabst. Here's my smear. Oh, man alive.
You're just
2015.
ruining everything.
I do. I ruin everything. Oh, I'm so bad at things. AKA, I'm great.
Well, anyway, DJ has this idea of how to fix everything, and then Kimmy comes in, and Stephanie's like, if Kimmy's part of your plan, you should probably find a new one. But Kimmy's just there to provide money. She's going to give DJ the $11.80 that she has, and DJ's
Now you're
like,
just going into the accent.
what?
You keep $11.80.
Shut up. Leave me alone.
Like, let me take a second to breathe so you don't, like, go into the accent.
I can't help it.
You can. It's 2015, y'all.
It just creeps in.
Creeps in like, I am your past. I'm gonna crawl into your mouth.
When you live in an area where people have accents, you start to get one yourself.
We don't live in that area
But I
anymore.
did.
Yeah, but you've been out of it for so long. Y'all.
Shut up.
Y'all.
Leave me alone.
Hey, everybody. I'm Alex. And this weekend, I want Jeff Gordon to win the Daytona 500.
Even when I was into NASCAR, I never liked Jeff Gordon.
Even when you were into NASCAR. Even when you were into NASCAR.
Well, my mom was really into NASCAR for a period of time when I was a kid, and that's what we did. We sat around and watched race cars.
My mom was really into that song, She's in Love with a Boy. I love
that song.
I hated it. You know why? You know why? Because the little boy's name was Tommy.
It was.
And they would sing that Tommy had a crush on a girl. And I would be like, no, Mom, I hate girls. Girls are stupid. And they would sing it to me every week.
But that song is like so good.
Oh, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's like the Antichrist. It is.
If they have to run away, she's gonna marry that boy someday.
It's literally the opposite of God's armpit. It is the Antichrist. Ugh.
Trisha Yearwood has a cooking show now.
As a cooking show, probably with that stupid, horrible lady on the Cooking Network who's like, "Hey y'all, it's me,
No,
Tiffany."
it's not with Paula Dean. It's by herself.
No, not Paula Dean. The stupid lady that I hate that you always watch from Kentucky.
Her name is not Tiffany. That is Damaris, and I love her.
Damaris, what a stupid idiot.
Leave Damaris alone.
She's the worst. I hate her.
No, Southern Heart is
You
my
always
favorite.
turn it on, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could sniper her in the eyeball.
Leave her alone.
Ow, I just got clicked. Ow. I literally, a tear came out of my eye. I'm sorry. Probably people are unsubscribing by the thousands now. Like, we got numbers up, and now they're all going to be like, nope, they're not talking about this show.
Anyway, Kimmy gave her $11.80.
Hey, $11.80.
Shut up. And DJ's like, oh, you're the best friend ever. And so then she's like, okay, you can have the other $5 that I was going to keep. And DJ, what?
I'm not saying anything.
DJ has $27 in her gotta get a car the day I turn 16 fund. And Stephanie is like, you can have all the money in my piggy bank, but turn around so you don't see where it is. And they're like, we know it's in your toy box. And she's like, no, it's not. But it was in her toy box. She pretends it was somewhere else. And apparently she's got 322 pennies.
You talked it off. Good job. You started up at about a Grandma Clampett, and now you're back down to Alex. So good job.
Well, I was trying to on purpose so you would leave me alone.
Well, by the way, Kimmy shows up dressed like Peg Bundy, but a biker.
She's always dressed like Peg Bundy.
But like it's weird, like, but they're treating her like a fashion plate. Like, oh man, this is the cool, sexy thing for 12-year-olds to be doing in 1989. And then like the next year, they're like, oh, Kimmy Gibbler's so gross. She smells like used tampons. Ew. But yeah, everyone pulls together the money, and then Joey drives them to the mall, where they're playing like the weirdest, best stock music I've ever heard on a sitcom ever. Like, I'm half tempted to believe it's actual music that somebody recorded that they loaned to them, because it sounds like actual 80s pop music and not bullcrap stock music. I don't know. That's a not funny thing I noted. But
Well, DJ freaks out when she finds out that the sweater was $80.
$80.
In 1989, this sweater was $80. Do you know how many items of clothing I own that are over $80?
My
today?
parents' house in Rochdale was $80.
The only thing I own that I have worn that cost more than $80 was my wedding dress.
Our TV with inflation would have been $82. It's like a 32-inch flat screen HD bullshit machine. So it's fizzled out.
Sorry, we both got colds. I don't know how. Probably from the kids. I don't know.
But Stephanie ends up, while the girls sneak off to go try stuff on, she's like, she sees a sign that says, buy now, pay later. She's like, hey, lady, what does that mean? Well, it's called credit. Stephanie's like, oh, cool. And she straight up just steals it. Like, that's it.
Well,
she steals the sweater.
She thinks that it means that she can just take it now and then come back and pay it when she's got the money.
Because, again, as we pointed out multiple times, Stephanie has, like, a permanent concussion. Like, apparently, every morning she wakes up and someone just smacks her in the head with a frying pan, because she is the stupidest, dumbest character in the history of television.
So she just sticks it in her little shopping bag, which has her piggy bank in it, I guess. And as they're walking out of the store, the alarm goes off, but someone else is also walking out, and they think that it's her instead. And Kimmy's all like, I hate when people shoplift. It drives up the prices for the rest of us.
Yeah, can they just, like, write in a PSA for shoplifting in the middle of this? Almost like the shoplifting committees. Like, guys, you can do an episode on shoplifting, and there can be kids involved, but you have to point out why it's bad. And they wrote the entire episode, and they realized, oh crap, we aren't Shoplifting Alliance compliant. So they forced in this 5-second bit of dialogue, because nobody actually thinks about that. Like, oh man, I'm going to steal something, and then it's going to drive the price up for everybody. You know, I stole when I was a kid. I never thought about that. Granted, I wasn't stealing sweaters.
Not gonna lie, I shoplifted quite a bit in high school, and I didn't think about it either.
Yeah. I shoplifted, ironically, because of the news, the news story up front. I used to shop pro wrestling magazines. I used to shoplift them. I would read an article or two while my parents were grocery shopping, and then I'd slide it in my jacket, and I'd strut out. And I didn't get caught for a year. And then one day I was up reading one of them in my room, and my dad's like, whoa, where'd you get that? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you're taking that back now. And he made me pay for it with his money and then made me throw it out. I'm like, I didn't learn a lesson from this. You're out $7 and whatever. I had to apologize for your shitty behavior. I never shoplifted again, and I wasn't grounded, by the way. I had to pay for something with my dad's money. So, joke's on you, Mike.
Well, I got caught at the store one time, but thankfully my dad wasn't home that weekend. So I just called my grandma and told her instead. Because they made me call somebody, and that was the safest bet.
By the way, Kimmy Gibbler's hair, fucking gigantic in this scene. Like, so big. They get back to the house, and Joey kind of tells Kimmy that she's going to turn a man gay someday.
Well, he says you're going to make a boy very confused.
Yeah, which I took it as like, oh, Kimmy, you're so hideous, you're going to turn someone gay.
And she's, like, really excited about that.
Apparently, I'd be too, if I can make that big of an impact in someone's life.
And Stephanie's like, look, I got the sweater, it's all fine. And they're like, oh my gosh, you stole that.
And then DJ reads the Wikipedia article for credit cards to Stephanie, and they're all like, now seriously worried, oh man, we're gonna go to jail.
Well, Stephanie is, but Kimmy is so freaked out about being in the vicinity of the stolen item that she literally runs out of the house.
Yeah. Because she'll be banned from the mall if she's not. Because, again, they just send 12-year-olds to jail.
And Danny's all like, hey, girls, we're about to leave for our Valentine's date. DJ, wear that sweater. I want to see how it looks on you.
That's so weird. Was your dad ever like, hey, Alex, 12 years old, I bought you an outfit. Let's see how it looks.
No.
That's weird. If my mom was like, oh, man, let me see how them pants look, I'd be like, nope. I'm burning them now, you freak. You pervert freak. So they go downstairs and Joey's like dressed up as Popeye because apparently
He and Cheryl, who is still with him, like they are keeping with this whole like we're gonna bring people back thing.
like I'd argue at this point they are like the second longest term couple in the history of Full House next to Becky and Jesse, who, spoiler alert, stay together for quite some time.
I don't know. Steve and DJ were together a long time.
But they seemed more on and off than anything, whereas Cheryl just disappeared one day. Joey's the one guy in the world who can find a Valentine's costume party to go to. I didn't think that was a thing.
I think that sounds fun.
I mean, it sounds better than, oh, we're gonna light a bunch of candles and listen to Barry White all night. That sounds a little boring to me. I don't know. Like,
We went to the Children's Museum for our Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes, and we mentioned it last week.
Did we?
Yes, because we saw they had a
Oh
TV.
yeah, the Full House pictures.
Yeah, they had a TV exhibit to like show kids like the history of television, and they had like a sitcom display, and it was like 4 sitcoms were displayed. One of them was Full House. It was like the Full House in the middle, Family Matters, and the George Lopez show.
And there was a quiz to find out what your family was like.
Don't say it.
Yeah, we were with George Lopez. And we were like, what?
That's disgusting. So apparently then next week, this show's done. Next week we become Los Dios Mios, the George Lopez Show podcast. Sorry.
It was actually like our best Valentine's Day so far, though, I think.
Yeah,
like,
other than the shitty restaurant we went to.
Yeah, it was overpriced and mediocre.
So if you ever get food in Indianapolis, don't. Just avoid Indianapolis. Because I don't remember the name of the place.
It was the Shoe Fly Public House.
Oh, the Shoe Fly Public House. They're on Twitter at Sucky Food.
No, Tom thought his burger was mediocre. I got walleye tacos and I really liked them, but I felt like the amount of food you got was not really proportionate to what you were paying for it.
The burger was a little, like, I asked for it well, and it was a little undercooked. And they gave me lemonade that was, like, tangy and, like...
It was like fresh squeezed lemonade, and Tom can't handle that. He needs some country time.
It's too much. It's like, yeah, as opposed to, ooh. I like ooh as opposed to, ah.
I used to drink lemon juice.
Yeah, that's, ew. What a freak. No wonder you talk funny now.
You're not very nice.
I'm not. I'm a dick. Speaking of dicks, for some reason, Joey and Cheryl take Danny's kid with them to a grown-up costume party.
She's dressed as Sweet Pea.
That just seems weird. Like, do they have a daycare there?
I don't know.
Like, is there a babysitter? Is there just like a bedroom where they're gonna let her sleep on someone's coats? Like, is like that's ugh.
Since DJ and Stephanie hadn't figured out how to hide the alarm tag on the sweater, since she needed to wear the sweater that night, they decided they were gonna roll up the sides of their sweaters and like tie them off or whatever. And Danny's like, "What's up with your sweaters?" And they're like, "Oh, this is like how you wear them these days. This is the fashion." And he's like, "I'll do it too."
And then he does, and he does that weird Bob Saget "I'm cool" voice for like the rest of the scene.
And it's weird.
It is. Saget's funny, but he's never funny on here. It's probably because they were doing lots of drugs. Because there was no doubt there was a lot of coke taking happening. It was 1989. That's what they did.
Jesse and Becky come in, and Jesse has taken Becky on a hayride through the streets of San Francisco. Like,
we're like the streets of Middletown, Indiana. Because they're a bunch of fucking hicks.
Hey, I like hayrides.
You're from Middletown, Indiana.
Only kind of.
By way of other shitty little redneck towns.
Anderson's not redneck.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Not nearly as redneck as Crawfordsville or Rochdale.
But I survived.
I survived.
I am the last of a dying breed. Everyone else there wears overalls.
I'm sorry, I have never participated in a roach race.
But I was awesome. I got a roach. I didn't participate. I bought a roach that they claimed was from Switzerland, and it won. And then it died.
I don't know why, but that story always makes me laugh.
And then they gave me a dead roach in a box that I paid $10 for. And they're like, "No, you dispose of this." And so that's what I won. I won a dead roach in a wooden box, like a memory box with the glass, like it's like a wood box with the glass case up front, and they put a dead roach in it, and that's what I won.
Did you keep your dead roach?
No, Mom wouldn't let me. I wanted to keep it. I wanted to put it up on the wall. I didn't understand that you couldn't just hang a box like that on the wall, and so we didn't. But it was a good time. I was triumphant. I went on my first Ferris wheel that day, I believe. I was by myself. It was frightening.
The only time I've ridden a Ferris wheel was with my sister.
Did you make out?
No.
I don't know. That's what people do in Ferris wheels, I heard. Tongues, 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 tongues.
Ew.
Tongues?
Ew.
Tongues.
Wait, seriously, you sound like a lick-a-tongue.
A what?
A lick-a-tongue?
What's a lick-a-tongue?
A Pokemon?
No. Huh?
He
What?
licks you and then you're paralyzed.
Well, you can say that about a lot of guys in the films, in the adult film industry.
Ew.
Where the fuck were we?
The hay ride.
Yeah, this thing is...
Jesse's apparently allergic to hay. Because he just keeps sneezing everywhere. And he's like, Danny, what's the sweater? And he's like, I'm cool now. This is what the cool kids do. And then he takes the girls to go see Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the 5th time. Because apparently that's a thing. Although I guess, to be fair, my older sister saw Titanic 8 times in the theater. So, I don't know, maybe that's not that strange. I don't know.
So Becky and Jesse like set up a romantic date in like 5 minutes. And I'm going to give Jesse credit for not being one of those dweebs that like turns out all the lights and like turns on a bunch of candles.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm going to turn on some musica, light a fire to heat up the evening a little as if we needed it.
Because they're going to have sex,
And
everybody.
then pour some champagne.
Yeah, but they didn't turn off a single light.
And he's like, I've got a gift for you. And he gives her the earrings, and she gives him a gift. And it's an Elvis spoon. An original Elvis spoon.
Really
apparently.
small
A genuine
spoon.
one.
Really small spoon.
And
like
he's like, it'll go great with my Elvis cheese grater. And I'm like, what?
hey, those things don't go together.
No, they don't.
It's not like you sit down at a table and you're like, okay, I got my spoon, I got my napkin, I got my cheese grater, let's eat.
Becky's very impressed with the sapphire earrings, and he helps her put them on in the mirror. And he's all like, I'm really glad you made me wait 4 months to date you. I feel like we've become friends, and I'm ready to make a commitment.
See, it would have been funny if he's like, I feel like we've become friends, and then he goes, I'm Phoebe. And then they all...
Friends wasn't a show yet.
But they could have done time travel. They will be able to in the future, so they could go back then and do time travel.
And Becky's all like, well, and he's like, no, you know how much I'm committed to this relationship? I am going to burn my little black book.
Which is gold.
Yeah, it's not black. And he throws it into the fire, and she's like, Jesse, I have a date Saturday. And he's like, what? And he, like, gets his little black book out of the fire and throws it in the ice bucket so it stops, like, burning. And then he's like, what are we doing, Becky? And she's like, we never said we were exclusive. And he's like, I'm going to wait for you because I care. And then he throws his little black book back in the fire as she wants to make out with him, even though she told him she wants to go slow. And he's like, hey, you said you wanted to go slow. She's like, well, then let's slow it down a little bit, and kisses him slower.
This is so confusing.
I agree.
Like, okay, everyone has, like, sexual rights. I get that.
But she is saying one thing and doing another, and that is confusing.
Yes. So, like, what is Jesse going to think when he's standing there with his Greek boner at full mast? She's like, don't want to do it right now. Like, he's going to be like, rawr, and then he's going to, like, break a lamp with his boner. Because he's mad. He's frustrated. But yeah, Becky is a tyrant. A vaginal tyrant. That is what she is. A vaginal tyrant. What a jerk.
Like, if you think about it, I mean, she's kind of been, like, a jerk to him the whole time. Like, stringing him along and, like, making him think that she was into him and be like, no, I'm not. And then, like, oh, hey, we're dating, but I'm dating other people. Like, if you're choosing to spend Valentine's Day with one specific person, like, I feel like that's probably, like, a fairly committed relationship, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's if you're like, oh, man, we're going to go on a Valentine's Day date at your house and exchange presents. You're a fucking couple. That's it. Exclusive. End of story. And if you're going on dates with other people, that's kind of cheating. You don't have to be like, oh, man, we're exclusive, aren't we? Yeah. No, you don't have to have the conversation if you're doing the Valentine's Day thing with someone exclusively. That's it. But I'm also about ready to cough, so jump in.
DJ and Stephanie are trying to return the sweater, but as they're walking through the entrance, the alarm goes off, and the cashier lady's like, do you have a receipt for that sweater? And they're like, no, and DJ's like, well, my little sister thought that buy now, pay later meant that, you could just pay it later, and, she's really sorry. She's really cute. You know, don't get mad at her. And the lady's like, I have to call your parents. And Stephanie's like, can you ask for Joey?
Okay, well, okay. Here's what would happen for real, if this were to happen. If a child were to, on their own, on their own, who have shoplifted something, were to bring the item back, here's what would happen. They would look at the item, see that nothing had been adjusted on it, and they'd go, you know what? Just don't do it again. Thank you for bringing it back. That's really honest of you. Like, the girls did the right thing. Here's what happens in Full House. Oh, we brought back a sweater for you. You're going to die! Like, this woman was so mean. And in this universe, I can kind of see why they thought they were going to be arrested. Because it's horrifying. It's so mean.
Well, the guys come rushing in, and they're like, how dare you accuse our sweet little girls of shoplifting? And Stephanie's like, Daddy, I did shoplift. I took that sweater. And he's all like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, we try to raise the girls to do the right thing. And then Michelle's like, I'm taking this hat. It's mine. And, like, starts to run away. And I don't know. It's a hideous hat, by the way.
Well, are you shaming a baby for having good fashion sense? Be like, oh, man, that jumper's awful. Ugh, what a bad baby.
I'm not saying she's a bad baby.
But you were like, ooh, the hat's hideous. And she has awful fashion sense.
Oh, I did forget, though,
herself.
when the girls first walked in, Gigi's like, act casual. And Stephanie's like, do-do-do-do-do.
Alright, so we go back to the bedroom, and Danny's like, girls, you're lucky no one's pressing charges. No, they're not. That's because, are you gonna fucking send a 6-year-old to jail for taking a sweater and then bringing it back? Like, what? Like, did these old white men sitting around a table writing the show think, oh man, it would be funny if we wrote a 6-year-old who's afraid of being arrested, and then everyone else thinks it's a thing that you can arrest a 6-year-old and put her in jail with grown women with switchblades who have lesbian sex.
Children would not go to jail. They would go to juvenile detention.
Where they'd get cut. They would not... no. This is bad. This is bad.
Stephanie's like, hey, Daddy, maybe you can fix the sweater. And Danny starts freaking out because the $80 sweater that he bought for his daughter for Valentine's Day, like, this isn't like a Christmas or a birthday gift. It's Valentine's Day.
Because Danny Tanner is the richest man in the world.
The most extravagant Valentine's Day gift I ever got was a copy of The Princess Diaries on DVD.
I got action figures for Valentine's and Easter because I hate candy.
Although you spent more money on my Valentine's Day this year than anyone else ever has. He did really good this year. He normally, like, does not get me anything, or he sucks at buying presents.
Do you want to tell my shitty story so everybody?
No, I'm not.
No, you have my permission.
No, I'm not.
About the baby.
I'm not going to.
It sounds much worse than it is now that I said the baby. Might as well tell it.
Okay, well, our first married Valentine's Day, like, our first Valentine's Day together, we were dating, but we didn't see each other because Tom had to go to a funeral, and I was out of town in the morning, and he had to leave before I was back. But our first married Valentine's Day, we were staying with his mom and dad temporarily because we were supposed to be moving to Florida. Long story. And I wake up, and for Valentine's Day, he has had his mom cook me some eggs that at that point had gotten cold. And he dressed our nephew up in a reindeer bath towel, like the kind of the hood. It was not a duck, it was a reindeer. And he held the baby and gave me the cold eggs and was like, Happy Valentine's Day. And he was really impressed with himself.
Okay, I swear it was a duck.
It was not a duck.
Because our whole, like, slogan motto thing is ducks fly together.
You wanted to find the duck, and the duck one was dirty or something.
Either way, I brought you a baby dressed up in a costume.
It was not a costume, it was a towel.
And I was not allowed to cook eggs because my mom had the stove.
I'm just saying, I don't understand why you were so impressed with yourself.
I thought it was clever and catchy. Now I realize why it wasn't.
Yes, for comparison, for Valentine's Day that year, because we didn't have a lot of money, I had set up, like, one of those games where you pop a bunch of balloons, and I put, like, little things inside them, like, for him to pick a movie and, like, I have him make him pot roast and like little like coupon kind of things, and he had a lot of fun with that.
It was a lot of fun. It was very clever. She is much better at this stuff than I am.
But this year he got me a bunch of Game of Thrones pop vinyl figures, and it was great.
Yes. And we're planning on adding more to the collection.
Yes.
Because the idea was, we can both collect pop vinyl. This is something we can do together.
Yes, because we don't actually have a lot of things that we both like.
Yes. So that's going to be our thing. So, hey, if any of you want to buy us pop vinyl things, they're $9 a piece, I think. 8, 9. Go at it. Have at it. Email us or DM us or tweet us. Hey, what's your address? And I'll give out my address over Twitter.
Let's not.
I'll give out my phone number, my social, my debit card number with the CVC on the back of the card. 373 what? That's not it. They're going to think it's it. We're talking to each other now, not to them. So is the episode over?
Almost. Danny leaves, and DJ's like, Stephanie, I really appreciate that you were trying to help me out. If you ever need help, just ask, and I will help you. And Stephanie's like, okay, can I borrow your clothes and your CDs? And I'm like, it's 1989. Why does DJ have a bunch of CDs?
Because they're rich. Because they're the richest family in the world.
Like, we didn't have, a lot of CDs until, 93, 94.
We didn't have a lot of CDs till 98. That's not because we were poor. It was because my mom is old. No. I had a Monster Magnet CD. Space Lord, mother.
Maybe you can help us fix DJ's sweater.
I'll sure give it a try. This was an $80 sweater. But what's really important here is that we all learned a good lesson. $80?
Oh, you little chicken wing. Thanks for trying to help me. Hey, you're my sister and you were in trouble. Somebody had to do something. I want you to know if you're ever in trouble, you can always count on me. Thanks. Sisters forever? Sisters forever. So does this mean I can play with your toys and borrow your CDs and clothes anytime I want? Not a chance. Hey, there was never going to be a better time to ask. Okay, one thing.
Yeah, that's it, I think.
It is.
It flamed out at the end. There wasn't a lot to this episode, so we just had to talk about a lot of bullshit. This whole thing could have been solved in 5 minutes, and they stretched it out to 22. This was pretty much like one of those Michelle things at the beginning of an episode.
It was one giant cold open.
Yeah, they wrote the whole thing. So, Alex, based on what we saw, who do you think was literally the worst this week?
It's a little difficult. I kind of want to say the cashier lady at the store, but I think I'm going to go with Becky.
I went with the cashier lady at the store. I could see Becky, too. I could also see Jesse, because he almost burned the house down. And that's pretty awful. Burning the whole house down is a pretty mean thing to do, even when you're in love.
Egg agrees.
Yes. Egg is our cat who is now sitting behind Alex. Again, none of you care, but I think it's adorable.
Our cats are very cute. Just ask Kevin Marshall.
Yeah. Hashtag repeal Tom's Law, asshole. But with that, we're going to head out. But before we do, once again, as promised at the beginning of the show, if you leave an iTunes review and a 5-star rating, I will cuss you out on this podcast. And I have another person to add to that cuss list. His name is Dave. He is the host of another podcast called the Pop Culture Case Study, which I did not get the URL for because I'm a bad host, but you can find it on iTunes. I listened to a couple episodes. My favorite, though, he did a 500 Days of Summer episode. He reviews movies and ties them in with different aspects of psychology. It was 500 Days of Summer, but he also looked at the aspect, the positive illusion. When you think something is almost like delusion, I guess. And it was very interesting, and I enjoyed it greatly in it.
It sounds like a podcast I would listen to.
Yes.
I just started listening to podcasts, by the way. Despite the fact that we've been doing this podcast for 9 months, Like, I never really listened to any podcasts until, like, the last few weeks.
Shame on you. We can talk about those more later, because one of the people who you listen to on a podcast is going to be back on ours in a few weeks, so...
Yeah?
Yep.
Good.
But, yeah, let's go ahead and... I'm going to cuss out Dave from the Pop Culture Case Study Podcast. Again, check that out on iTunes. Here we go. Listen, motherfucker. How dare you go on iTunes and try to give psychology advice to fucking people? How dare you? How dare you be smart and look at film at a much higher level than most people and analyze things? Fucking analyze. The first 4 letters of analyze is anal. And you're an ass. You're an ass. Big old ass. I'm waking up the cats. I'm so mad right now. You damn ass. Listen, buddy, you know what comes out of ass? Poop. Asses, poop. You, a big old recycling circle, you asshole. You're the asshole in the ass, sending out the shit. That's it. If you would like to be cussed out like Dave was, please, all you have to do is go to tinyurl.com/flosspodcast. That takes you to our iTunes page. You subscribe on iTunes, you rate us 5 stars, you write a short review, and I will cuss you out on a future episode of Everywhere You Look, this very podcast. We're going to head out. Yeah, everywhere you look, there's a...
Double-decker lamb chicken sandwich.
You're lost out there, you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry you home.